This is a short review on perimeter and area. So the first thing we're going to look at is perimeter. When you're doing perimeter, you're measuring the outside. In 5th grade, we have rectangles and squares most of the time, the color that works. So you're going to be measuring the outside lines of a two-dimensional figure. So for example, if this is 10 and this is 5, you're measuring all these outside sides. So you want to go ahead and look at the opposite sides are always the same. And I made up this guy to help us remember what to do. So this is Perimeter Man. And as you can see, he's got crazy hair. It's really big. So Perimeter Man runs around and he adds up all the outsides of the box. He can only go around and add up all the outside numbers. If he tries to count the inside, this is a shock zone. Once he crosses that line, his hair might fall out the next time he does it. So Perimeter Man's going to run around and he's going to add up all the outsides. So he can do 10 plus 5 plus 10 plus 5, but there's another formula for perimeter that's twice the length and twice the width. So you could do 2 times 10 plus 2 times 5. Sometimes you're going to have a shape that's not a rectangle. Sometimes it'll be even maybe a triangle. So if this is a equilateral triangle, let's say each side is 4 centimeters, you're going to add up 4 plus 4 plus 4, or 4 times 3, so the perimeter would be 12 centimeters. So this is pretty simple. Occasionally you're going to have a wonky Tetris looking piece like this, and it will have a missing side. So let's say this is 12, and this is 4, and this is 10, and this is 5. And they're going to want you to find the perimeter. You'll see here this side's missing and this side's missing. We have to find those missing sides before we can go on and add up the outside lengths. So you're going to look at the longest side length. So from here to here is 12 units. So then I'm going to look at the piece that I have here. 4 and 12 minus 4 is 8. So that's how I fill in this section here. You're going to have to kind of put together these two pieces, and I know 4 plus 8 is 12, so my missing piece has to be 8. And if this is 10 and this is 5, it's 5 from here to here and 10 from here to here, this missing piece has to be 5. So on these problems, you have to go through and look at all the sides, find all the missing pieces, and then you're just going to add up all the sides together. And then from there, you're just adding up all those units. So these get a little tricky, but you can usually like combine groups and add the 5s together and then add the 10s together and shorten it up pretty fast. So this is perimeter. Perimeter problems, word problems, are normally about your word problems are normally about things like fences, trim, a border around a garden, rugs, sometimes. Rugs can be both area and perimeter, so be careful on those. But you're usually looking at like a room or a yard on the word problems. And again, your perimeter formula, like if it's for a square, let's say this is 6 inches here. Well, I know if it's a square, all the sides are 6, and I really don't want to do 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. So the formula for a square is 4 times the side length. So on this one, the perimeter would be 4 times 6, which is 24 inches. So this is kind of what you're going to see. Every once in a while you'll have a wonky shape, but most of the times it's rectangles and squares. But just remember, when you're doing perimeter of a square, you're doing the same number 4 times. With area, it's a little bit different, but it's almost easier. With area, you're going to have a 2D shape, so it's flat. And my little superhero I made up for this one is Area Man. Area Man can fly. And Area Man has awesome powers, and his formula is quick and easy. It's actually easier than perimeter. So he's going to count all the inside of the 2D shape. So the area is all this flat space in between. You're going to be using square units. So if it's inches, it's going to have little baby 2. If it's feet, it's going to have this little baby 2 like that. This exponent means square feet, square inches. Every once in a while it'll say like SQCM. Again, it's just another way to represent square units. So if you see any answer choices that have square feet, square inches, anything like that, you're going to be doing area. And Area Man's formula is super easy. Area is length times width. That's it. So when you're looking at problems, for example, a rectangle that is 8 centimeters by 4 centimeters, you're just doing 8 times 4, and your answer needs to be written 32 centimeters square. So you're going to have this little exponent 2 here to show square units. And again, when you're doing this, you're counting all the inside. This is the space that we're counting, not the purple line on the outside like perimeter, but the inside space. Your word problems are going to be more like flooring, like carpet, rugs, tile, grass in a yard, dirt. Let's see. And you actually use this a lot like when you're building houses, because this is how you calculate the cost of the house flooring, and the house being built is the cost per square feet. So watch out on those word problems. Remember to look for the exponent 2. Square units mean that you are going to be doing area. Be really careful on the squares, because a lot of times people accidentally say, well, the area of this is 12 centimeters squared because 3 times 4 is square, but that's perimeter. So be really careful. If you're counting perimeter, you're adding up all these 3's. So the perimeter would be 4 times 3, which would be 12, but your area is actually going to be 3 times 3, which is 9. Perimeter will always have just a unit by itself. It's not going to have any exponents. It's just going to be plain centimeters, plain feet, plain inches. That's it. So be really careful when you're doing squares, because squares are going to look really different between perimeter and area. Hope that helps.